It's just something to keep aware of.
I know, not laughing. Okay, audience, you
Through
have
the show. I didn't say don't laugh at all. I said not laughing through the show. Like that.
And we got another reminder from our sponsor, Rub with Love, that sometimes we forget that we have our YouTubers joining us too. So we need to stay sharp and remember to address them as well as the beautiful live people in our audience. Got it?
maybe we should have a sign hanging from the ceiling said you're on YouTube. Something like that, so that would be a constant reminder.
Watch your head and remember you're on YouTube.
Don't scratch your nose.
So yeah.
My thing when I listen to our show separately is that we giggle an awful lot through the show, and I find it annoying. So it's just when I listen to the show,
it's because you're not as happy as us.
Exactly. Just because we're happy ducks and you're sour goose.
Whatever.
Exactly my point. Or whatever. Come on, it's okay. We don't get paid enough to not laugh.
How's that? I didn't say don't laugh. I said please don't giggle and laugh through the show. Let's drop it at that.
Okay, Tom.
Yep.
We're gonna keep it professional.
Thank you.
The audience, you only have one job and one job only. Just be happy and just clap as loud as you can. All right. Are we on YouTube yet? Good morning, YouTube. Did I show Tom? Or do they see Tom? Oh, yeah, they see Tom over there.
Excellent.
Tom is on the small screen. I'm on the big screen. That's Pam. Sean on the techno.
Come over.
Come on, Sean. Say hi to everybody. Here we go. So when you don't get your YouTube, you can call him. When you do, you might thank him.
Also call him.
Then let's not forget one very valuable item on the show, the audience. Thank you. We have a very nice live audience this morning. It's exciting. All right, Tom, you ready? Oh, no, he's leaving. All right. I like that. Just when we're...
He's got a big day with Zoom that is probably going to be frustrating or will require some patience because right after the show, he's doing a virtual with Pierce College. They sent out 1,000 invites. We don't know how many people are actually going to watch, but he's going to moderate from home now, and Annie's going to cook. So he's got a lot of Zoom time today. Wow. Thank you, Tom, for being willing to do that.
My pleasure. Sorry that I've put a cog in the wheel.
That's okay. We'll prevail.
So, am I running the show, or are you guys going to run it from there?
You're running it.
Okay. Sean, can you raise the volume a little bit? Yeah. Or maybe I should put the...
Look at that.
Does that work?
Yep.
Is that better?
The light?
Can you guys hear him?
No, I was the volume. Oh, I thought you raised the lights.
No, I raised the volume on my end, but I don't think it is changing the volume on your end.
Here we go. That's good. That's good. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sean. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go now.
Do we have a contract with Olio Verde? Because it's front and center in our screen.
Not yet.
With who?
The olive oil to Terry's left. Your left. Your other left. Yeah, just pull that out of there. That's good. Thank you.
You have one from Medi by any chance? That would be more...
It would be nice since Rub with Love is our sponsor to maybe put a couple of Rub with Loves there.
They're there.
Yeah, you can't see them from here. That's the thing.
No, that's the problem. Can't see them.
You can see them, but I don't think they can see it. You see on the screen? Do you see the big screen in the background? There you go.
Well, you have to straighten them out for me, Terry. Just straighten the chicken rub out there, if you would.
Tilt it gently to the right. No, the other way. The other way.
No, I'm talking about the jar inside the box. If you're going to use the box, they have to face out.
There we go.
Thank you.
It's nice because we can't see any of what you're talking about, so that's good.
I know, but I can. So there you go.
I get it. I get it. All right. Guess what time it is? It's 9 a.m. on Friday
Yay.
morning.
Yay.
Great that we get to see Pamela the whole show.
I
Much
know.
better than me.
Yeah, no offense, but yes, I think you're right, Tom.
Sean, are we ready to set?
He was born ready.
Doing it.
Okay. Welcome to the Hot Stove Society radio show here on Cairo Radio. I'm Chef Tom Douglas, owner of a few joints here around Seattle, including Lola right downstairs, Seatown at the north end of the Pike Place Market area, and of course, Series Pie, both downtown and Ballard, the Dahlia Bakery, as much as I can say that. And of course, the beautiful Hot Stove Society kitchens there in the Hotel Andra in downtown Seattle. Hotel Andra is right at the corner of 4th and Virginia, and you're welcome to join us any week. Just go to hotstovesociety.com and buy a ticket, or you can watch from home on our YouTube channel, which is at Tom Douglas and Company. Go look for the Hot Stove Society radio show and have a ball. Join us every Friday morning. Hello, Chef.
Hey, good morning, Tom. I'm so glad. What happened? You're not even here. You're on screen. I like that.
I know. I'm in COVID protocol for the first time in 2.5 years. It's the weirdest story, Chef. We have been running restaurants since the day everything closed down at great risk, wearing masks and doing everything. And then my family, who now all has COVID, got it from 3 different places in the same week.
Wow.
Jackie got it from her farmer. Loretta and Ben and Hercules got it from their nanny. And I got it from my friends just back from helping refugees in Romania and Ukraine. So I have the most exotic version of COVID. I have Romanian COVID, which means that I have to eat the national dish of Romania, cabbage rolls, every day. Just so happens I have plenty in my freezer.
I was going to say, just open your freezer because from your story in the past, sounds like you always put a whole bunch of them away. So that's cool.
I do.
Well, I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you're asymptomatic as well. So nobody is sick. That's just positive.
Oh no, everyone is sick, but it's like everyone is sick with a cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we miss you, and we're gonna do a great job. I know you do well on Zoom, so that's good.
I've done a lot of Zoom over the last couple of years. What's going on there in the studio today, Chef?
Well, we have a beautiful audience, and we also have a big show coming up. So, we're going to be talking about spring lamb, as it's the peak of the season. We're going to have a great guest, Armandino Batali, who is a culinary family royalty around here. So we're gonna welcome him on the show. Who else do we have? We're going to talk about spring salads that dazzle. That's probably one of
Dazzling.
that's one of Pam's favorite line, probably salads that dazzle. And then we're going to be answering a listener query on making an egg sandwich extraordinary. I can't wait to hear that.
My favorite part about that, Chef, is that we have to take it from a Burger King egg sandwich as ordinary and take it to extraordinary. So that should be
be
right
easy.
in our wheelhouse.
We should be having a good time with that. And then we have the art form of the potato chip tuna sandwich. Another question mark on that for me. Why do you put potato chip on tuna sandwich? I have no idea. I like good bread, good tuna. The rest is mayo and tomato and lettuce. I mean, let's not go crazy here. But we'll talk.
That is such a shocker that is a weird thing for you.
Yes. And then we'll play at the end. We'll play our favorite game, Food Tasty Trivia, sponsored by Rub with
foodie,
Love.
It's foodie fun today.
Foodie fun. Yes, I read that. What's that mean? Is it something different?
Jokes.
Oh,
Food
jokes. Oh. But anyway, my taste of the week this week, we always start with that. And I'd like to mention my taste of the week. Kathy and I went to Lola the other night on before a concert to go see Buddy Guy. We're a big fan of Buddy Guy. He was playing at the mall, and we went to Lola, and I had a salad that I would say was quite essential salad, as in that's the way I like my salad to be, and it's the Greek salad from Jackie's Greek salad, and it's tomato, feta cheese, red onion, and cucumbers. Super, super simple salad, but it's diced correctly. So, this is something that you often go through when you eat a salad. You have some chunks of things that are much bigger than your mouth can handle or doesn't make any sense. So now you have cucumber for days and tomato never, kind of idea when you mix the sizes. That's why it's important to cut your salad a certain amount of size. I believe in that strongly because when you eat, it makes a big difference. But the temperature of the salad was absolutely perfect, room temp, not refrigerated. The tomatoes were delicious. There was a little grape tomato. Everything was just perfect. And it's not because it's you. I'm not kissing your butt. I'm just telling you that was whoever made that salad knows how to make the perfect salad. And my wife is a high critic of salads of everything mostly, but on salads especially. And she was definitely agreeing with me that it was quite essential. It's a very simple salad, but you could easily screw that up so easily, and it was perfect. So congrats to the team at Lola.
Thanks, Chef. One of the things that makes that salad good, and then we did this 2 weeks ago in a class there at the Hot Stove. We always like to compare when it's worth paying extra for something or when following a recipe exactly makes more sense. And so we had a little taste comparison between sheep's milk feta and cow's milk feta. Because some people go, oh, I'll just get feta, whatever. And the sheep's milk feta was so tangy and lovely and brought out a totally different deliciousness in that salad or in a salad compared to the Wisconsin-based cow's milk feta, which they still use the name feta, which is not right.
Right.
But little things like that can really make the effort. Also, what did you notice in that salad that a lot of Americans just can't handle?
Vinegar.
There's no lettuce.
No,
There's no
that's
lettuce
true.
in the salad.
But there's also vinegar, which is, I think that's one thing that in most dressing I don't like. They always want to sugar the dressing. They always want to sweeten the dressing. I'm like, it's okay. Vinegar is a great item to have in a salad. It cuts through that rich, the cucumber and the tomatoes need some perkiness, and that's the perfect thing.
All right, my taste of the week is my freezer. We always talk about larding our freezer with different things.
Wait, hold on. You start by eating the door? What do you do?
Yeah, I just lick the door. But we always talk about larding our freezer, and now is the time. I'm home with COVID. I can't go shopping. So I'm going into my freezer to see what I have left. And I just ate the last of my lamb mole. I had lamb curry because I made a leg of lamb on Monday on my barbecue and ate so much lamb that I have all sorts of things. I ate some cabbage rolls last night. I got a box of pork for a Christmas present from my daughter Loretta and my grandson Hercules. And so yesterday with my cabbage rolls, I had kind of crispy fried jowl bacon. It was cut thick and delicious, and oh my God, so good. Just eating through the freezer has been really fun. Remembering when I harvested those things, remembering when I made those things, and enjoying the fruits of my labor.
And now spring is around the corner. It's going to be time to refill it up.
Yeah, good. Exactly. So why not?
Cool.
All right. When we come back, it's Armantino Batali right here in our very own Hot Stove Society kitchen. Let's do that again. Okay, when we come back, it's time for spring lamb. I'm going to talk about that leg of lamb that I made on my charcoal grill on Monday and how it's sustaining me through my 6 days or 10 days of COVID quarantine. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. I like Pam's head just went like this. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I love lamb, but 6 days in a row would be a lot of lamb. But I saw this recipe last week for lamb baklava. Doesn't that sound perfect? That crispy ground lamb, and I was like, that's next on my list.
A leg of lamb that you cook for like 12 to 16 hours, very slowly, nicely braised. Falls off the bone. The meat is like falling apart. Oh,
Save it
it's
for
so
the
delicious.
segment.
And then, of course, you make lamb tacos. Some good salsa.
All right, we're ready to roll.
You know, Chef, I was reminded there, and I'm curious about that lamb, that Loretta was making brisket for the first time in her life for her
Oh.
in-laws that were coming over for Passover. And all the recipes online said go at, 3, 5, 6 hours, whatever it was. And I tested it. I happened to be over there. I tested it at 3 hours, and it was almost fall apart and done.
Uh-huh.
I said, pull it now, just let it rest in the hot braise, and it's perfect. I like it to have a little bite when I'm making that long roasted
Right.
or long braised meat. And it was delicious after 3 hours. People tend to overcook, I think, their braises, and the meat ends up falling apart, but it gets mealy and pasty a little bit when you
Right.
go to eat it.
Well, I think what I was talking about was also a very, very slow cooked overnight.
Yeah.
You put it in the oven before you go to bed, and you wake up the next day, and you have it for lunch.
So you're talking 200 degrees?
Yeah, to 25, and then you just put it in the oven, and you just cooks very, very slowly.
All
And
right, let's talk about that in this next segment.
That's what we're doing.
Welcome back to the Hot Stove Society Show from the Hot Stove Kitchens here in downtown Seattle, Washington. We're thrilled to be with you. My name is Tom Douglas. I'm coming to you on Zoom today because I'm in COVID quarantine. The first time I've had it in all the time that it's been out there. Very exciting, to be part of the in crowd now. It came out yesterday that Brandy Carlisle has COVID, so I'm feeling very elegant and very hip.
It's very funny. Pretty soon it's going to be uncool not to have COVID. I'm like, what?
It already is, Chef.
Is it?
I hate to break it to you. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm leaving out of that one.
Darn it.
I'm not going to let it get to my ego. I'm fine.
Chef, in the last segment, you mentioned a little bit about a slow roasted leg of lamb.
Uh-huh.
And this is classic spring lamb season. A lamb is a critter that is 6 to 9 months old typically when it's harvested. Oftentimes not weaned yet, but certainly not over a year. It certainly doesn't have permanent teeth yet, and all the things that change a lamb into a mutton. So what's your favorite way to take lamb outside of the rack? The rack is easy, right? It's like serving raw tuna.
The
it's
rack,
like,
the rack for me is when I'm lazy and I don't feel like cooking. I'm just gonna take the rack and put it in the oven as is, or I'm gonna cut the chops off and make chops. But
let's focus on the shoulder and the leg.
Yeah,
this segment.
I think those are the best meat anyway. The best tasty meat. It's different than the rack. The leg of lamb, if it's bone in, I'm gonna put it in the oven. I'm gonna season it, and I'm gonna put it in the oven on a bed of maybe a bed of onions, very thick onions, and then put that in the oven with a little bit of olive oil at about 225. And I'm gonna put this in the oven before I go to bed, and then I'm gonna look for it the next morning when I wake up, and then this is when I'm gonna assess how far I am. So the lamb's gonna be totally warmed up by the next morning, and it's gonna be starting cooking. Obviously, what I'm trying to achieve is that the meat is totally braised, but not overcooked to the mush point. I don't want it to be like a pasty kind of texture. I want it to be a cooked, like, as soon as you touch it, it just falls off the bone. The kind of meat that you can use in tacos or you can use in many different usage. But that's what I'm looking for. So by about 9 a.m. the next morning, so let's just say 12 hours, by the next morning, 9 a.m., it will be totally ready, seasoned. It will have a nice little browning. What I'm going to do is, if I want to, I'm going to put it under the broiler and give it a little bit more of a touch of crustiness, just like it is. Just add some heat to it so you can add that crust. And then other than that, it's totally ready. So on the side, you can have couscous, vegetables, all kind of different things you can do on the side, obviously. But more importantly, you have a lamb that is melting in your mouth. And a leg of lamb that is like this can be put away. The rest of the meat that's not eaten on that meal can be put away and reused in many different ways. You can throw it into a pasta. If you do a nice little pasta, little tomato, garlic, basil, you throw in the lamb meat in there, and you have this wonderful lamb pasta. You could put it into a crispy rice or many other different things. So it's a very beautiful way to do lamb without having to stress the. Many people are afraid to overcook lamb or they overcook it, one of the two. But if you do it correctly, and there is plenty of recipes out there, 12 to 16-hour lamb, just take the leg of lamb and cook it slowly. Don't start at 350 or 400 because you're gonna burn that lamb. So,
Well, I wouldn't agree with that necessarily. It depends on what you're going for when
Right.
you're done with the lamb,
True.
right?
True.
If you're going for that fall off the bone, then yeah, don't start it up high. I did a leg on Monday, and I'll start with, it's hard to find a whole shank on leg of lamb anymore, all the way up to
Absolutely.
the hip or pelvis bone. It's just hard to find. So I had found one at Met Market or Shoreline Central, I can't remember where. And I was in Cryovac, so I just put it in my fridge, thinking that maybe sometime during the Easter holiday that we would have guests over and I would use it. And of course, it never happened. And so the first thing I saw when I was told by my team that I had to stay home for a minimum 5 days, is like, I have that leg of lamb in the fridge. I got my grill out, I got it started up, and it's got the shank on. And just like you said, I kept it at 275 for the whole time.
right.
And it took about, for that whole leg, it took about 5 hours at low and slow in my charcoal grill. And I put a pan of potatoes underneath, just like I would if I was doing a duck. And I did not trim the fat off the lamb. When you're going low and slow on a rendering like that, the fat will render. You don't need to
Right.
trim it. And that fat is delicious on the potatoes and everything else that it goes on. So I used my new pizza spice. It's in our Rub with Love line. It was fabulous. It's got toasted onion and good stuff in it. And then I had this leg, this big old, I want to say a leg of lamb these days, American lamb especially, is around 10 pounds or so, with a yield of probably 8 pounds of meat. The bone in the hip joint is in there, but it's very small compared to the chunkiness of the leg.
Right.
So Chef, when you go to the grocery store, or when most people go to the grocery store, they're going to go to the lamb part of the meat refrigerator, and they're going to see shanks kind of cut separately. They're going to see not even typically a whole rest of the leg. They're going to see that cut in half. So you have the femur end of the leg, and you've got the hip joint end of
Right.
the leg.
The top round is part
Right.
of one, and
And then sometimes you'll find the shoulder, which is the same as a pork butt, right?
Right.
It's the lamb. It's what they call, even though it's the shoulder, they still call it the pork butt.
Right.
So it's lamb shoulder, which has the blade bone in it, which cooks up just like the leg.
correct.
Low and slow, fall off the bone. So delicious. But it is important, if you want a whole leg, you kind of have to pre-order it. If
Yeah.
you go to Don and Joe's in the market, or any butcher shop can get it for you. But just, if you don't see it in the case, ask the butcher, because they likely are either breaking them down in the back, or they have one or two back there that
Right.
they're holding on to.
Now, if you get the one in the net without the bone, it's an easy one to cook. I love to prep that. Butterfly, it's called butterfly, which is you unroll the meat. Basically, you take it out of the net and you make it as pretty much the same thickness all the way around. So you open your meat, and then I make a beautiful olive tapenade. So green olive, black olives, little peppers, roasted peppers in there, chopped shallots, fresh thyme, olive oil, and I put that on top of the lamb, just like that. And I put it marinated for a couple of hours, so it goes into the flavor goes into the meat. And then I turn on the grill and I move the charcoal on the side, so there's no direct flame underneath. And then the grill is super hot, and I give the lamb a beautiful sear on the skin side, not on the olive side. I keep all the olives in there, and then I put the lid on top of the lamb, and I let it cook inside the grill like this at about 350. That's the temperature I'm looking for. I'll tell you one thing, it makes a leg of lamb, and it cooks fairly fast because it's only a couple of inches wide. So you get your lamb cooked in about 45 minutes. You get a beautiful leg of lamb. And leg of lamb, to me, should be cooked mostly all the way. Medium, you're looking for at least medium, so you don't end up with a bunch of chewy, sinewy when you're eating it. People who serve you a rare leg of lamb are not the one eating it. That's always what I say. Because if you eat a rare leg of lamb, you're going to be chewing on that meat for quite some time. I tell you, the muscles we have in our butts are not the same one. In tenderloin, there is no muscle, but you have a lot of muscle up here. So anyway, that's another technique to do is it marinate with the olive oil tapenade, a little bit of harissa in it too. And so you get a beautiful flavor of that olive into your lamb. And then like I said, you grill it on the skin side. So it's super seared. And it makes a beautiful platter. You take it out of your grill, you put it on the platter, and then you slice it thin. That's another technique that we do in the kitchen. You slice your meat thin, because the thinner you slice it, the easier it is to eat. If you make big, wide, thick pieces of lamb, you're going to end up with chewy piece of meat. So
delicious. Sounds good. Don't forget to make some kebabs while you're cutting up that lamb too. Yum. Okay, let's take a break here and let's welcome into the show when we come back some Seattle royalty. It's Armandino Batali right here in the Hot Stove Society kitchen on Cairo Radio 97.3 FM.
Yes, he would. I hope.
Hey, Sean, did you turn me down? Because all of a sudden I can't hear these guys.
No, I wasn't. I was talking to him.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm having the. I'm trying the gluten-free cookies.
Oh, those are good. Those thumbprints. I like those.
Absolutely delicious.
Hey, Armo!
Armo.
I'm behind you.
I see you. You look good. One of the greatest things you've done is your, I think it's on Facebook with your granddaughter or grandson. That is a classic. You ought to put that on every advertisement that you do. It's a really incredible little picture. She makes you look good.
Well, it's a he, and his name is Hercules. And
no, his name is Rory.
He is awesome.
Yeah. How old is he now?
He will be 14 months on May 5th.
I'll be done. Great.
Grandkids. Can't wait.
How are your grandkids doing? I haven't seen them in many a moon.
My kids are grandkids.
Grandkids.
Oh, one just graduated from MIT, and one's graduating in June from Berkeley.
Nice.
They went to crappy school.
So you have a hippie and an engineer.
Yeah, two hippies. One in Australia. She graduates too.
Wow.
Family planning really worked well.
No, it's called. There is the plan, and then there's reality.
You're looking good, Tom.
Thanks, Armo. Same to you.
I don't know. Are we on now?
We're on YouTube. They're watching you.
When they asked me to come to this show, I was mixed a little bit, but the honor of being here is that the chefs, and we started Salumi 20 years ago.
Well, hold on. We're going to talk about that on the radio.
We were so impressed with what chefs do in this city. And you two have led the way all the way, and it's awesome to see how much you give back to society. And one of the greatest things is that most people don't understand that. All the free dinners and the food lifeline and the homeless, and you're the leaders in this city.
And you did the same, Armo. So just hold on to that. We're going to go live on the radio here.
Yeah. Hang on. We're going to put that on the radio. So Armo, you try to get as close as possible to the mic, because this is
Bring it to him, Terry.
this is your performance too.
How's that? Better?
Yeah.
Better. Where's the vino?
go.
Where's the vino tinto?
Vino tinto. Yeah. Where is the wine? I mean,
Armo, if I was there, Armo, you'd have a glass right in front of you. I'm sorry about our producer Pamela. She's not on the money today.
I can remember having dinner at Tom's and we had the best cabbage rolls in the world.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back. It's the Hot Stove Society Show on Cairo Radio. My name is Tom Douglas. I'm coming to you on Zoom today. I wish I could be there because my pal Armo is in the house.
That's
Hello,
right.
Chef
Yay.
Terry. Oh,
Yes.
Armo's in the house.
Fun to be here.
yeah. Armandino Patali, who we consider Seattle restaurant royalty. Your son Mario has been a leading chef around the country for years and years. Your daughter, I think, took over from you at Salumi, where you were the leading salami maker. You kind of made salami hip again here in this town. And your wife made gnocchi hip and popular. You're just like you're the real deal, Armo.
Thank you very much. But I had a hell of a lot of help along the way.
Well, nobody does it alone. It's a community thing, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Tell us about how you are, and Terry's going to take over because I want to listen.
well, what I'm interested in, first of all, and I'm sure the audience too, who is Armandino Batali? Where does he come from? And how did this whole story, your whole life story is so amazing to me. So give us a little bit of a rundown on,
Okay.
where you started and everything.
Well, my grandfather was Angelo Merlino. You see their trucks all over town. He started the import business in 2000 or I don't know, 80 years ago, right across the street from the immigration center, because he came over and was a miner at Black Diamond and didn't like the cheese, so he started his own business. And then we've all been food-related people since then. Families, holidays, everybody cooked. It became almost a challenge between cousins and aunts and uncles who could make the best dinner, or cook the best turkey, or make the best pasta or whatever. Anyway, so that's kind of the history.
But you grew up in Seattle, right?
I grew up in Yakima, actually, born in Seattle. My dad had a farm in the lower valley in Yakima, much like Tom's farm, although a little bit maybe bigger. But there wasn't, at the time of that time, there wasn't the care about quality. It was lots of wheat or lots of hops or make as much as you could.
Right.
Anyway, so we graduated from college and went to work for Boeing, and about 3 years later, they asked us to go to Europe. And it was a 2-year assignment, and we stayed 15. And I kind of tell a joke about when we moved back, they had put all our furnishings in storage. And at 15 years, we had a 15-year-old refrigerator, a 15-year-old lawnmower, 15-year-old this and that, and the color orange, and what the hell was going on 15 years. Anyway, that was great. But living over there was a great experience for our whole family. We would go to Michelin restaurants, and the kids learned to pick the one forker, not the 5-star or the 3-star, if you know the Michelin story. And that was a good experience. Living there was indeed a different lifestyle. And we lived in central Madrid and central London, so we had both. Spent a lot of time in Italy with the butchers there.
What an education for your children. That's pretty impressive.
It was. And
Yeah.
they admit that today.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, and sometimes you're a lucky parent. Most of the time you're lucky.
Yeah.
And this was a good
Yeah.
move. And they responded really well. Anyway, one of our positions was salami. We tasted salami in Hungary and Czechoslovakia and Italy and Spain, and all of it almost tasted the same. It was always that paprika or some spice or just no spice, but there was not a lot of creativity. So my wife and I thought that when we retired that we would start our own little delicatessen. And we did, but we changed the face of what we were making to a little more hip type salamis like the mole, like the orange. I don't know, we probably have 10 or 15 salamis in the factories making stages. And one of the things that we did do well was lamb prosciutto. And I worked with Dario Cecchini, who is a butcher of Italy. Tell you all kinds of stories about him, but he told me you can never make prosciutto out of lamb. And I said, no, it's not true. And so we started
Says a
making
guy
it.
from Boeing.
Yeah, who the hell is this guy? Yeah. And so we made some and I sent it to him, and then he got a little hip about it. He's the guy that when they had the mad cow disease in Europe, they banned it from Italy because of the bone in the
Right.
So he took to the streets and he got like 100,000 people to march in Florence in favor of keeping the bone in and being able to serve this steak. And he won. He actually won. Anyway, this guy was crazy. I just talked to him yesterday. I'll tell you a little, if I got time,
Go ahead.
a little story about him. He, in the 90s, Italy was going into the European community. So part of that getting into the European community was they had to get their meat makers or meat producers are approved. So the Italian government hires the American government to send over a team. They send over 21 veterinarians to assess the ability of Italians to make prosciutto.
Which they've been making for hundreds of years.
Anyway, so one day they decided that in this 21 was one woman, 20 men and one woman. Anyway, one day they picked one butcher shop and they picked him because he was so high profile, lovable, wonderful artist. So here comes this big bus and there's 21 veterinarians get out of the bus. And they walk in his store and it's a typical meat market. It's a long, narrow, not very clean facility. So they go back and they look at the curing area and there's mold on the walls and mold on the meat, on the ceiling and on the floor. And then he didn't even show him his secret one in his house. It's really bad. And so they watch him for 4 or 5 hours. Finally, they say, well, you got to clean this place up. We'll be back in 3 weeks to assess you again. So he calls me, and he always called me at 3 a.m. over here. I mean, it was his habit. I said, well, go buy some bleach and clean it then. And he said, no, I'm not going to do it. My dad didn't do it. My grandfather, I'm not going to do it. My meat is the best. So a week later, he finally calls me back. He says, yeah, I finally did what you said. He says, I bought some bleach. I said, how much? He says, a pint. You couldn't buy a gallon of bleach in Italy anywhere. Anyway, so here comes the bus back again 3 weeks later. They walk in and they write him up because he hadn't cleaned it up, and they gave him so many days to clean it up or close. So I didn't hear from him for, I don't know, a couple, 3 months, maybe more. And I didn't want to bother him, and yet I did. And so finally I called him, and he says, yeah, they were back. He says, I'm in business and I'm doing really good. And I said, well, how did you do that? He says, well, I married the veterinarian from Texas.
Oh, that's awesome.
Italian ingenuity.
Oh, let's.
More stories and such from Armandino Batali when we come back in our next segment. Armo, I just a couple of things I want you to think about when we come back is, can people make salami at home? And if not, should they just stick with sausages? What would you tell us, the beginner salami maker today after all your experience? On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
What a great story. That's the best. I was hoping that's what it was going to be, because I was like, only one woman. When you said that, I was like, oh, that's good. Awesome. Great story. And that's how you get around it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's a sweetheart, too. When I was in his shop, she was just working away right beside him. I was eating the rosemary lardo off the table that he had there with the baguettes. And he was singing opera behind the counter.
So you
He's a
sing.
great singer. He sings the old Italian Tuscan dialect. Incredible singer. And the women go into his store, the older ladies from the town, and he always gives them something free. And I mean something tangible, like a big steak or, And when he deals with you, you give him money. And if you're a woman, he slides it out of your hand, And it's a love relationship. My wife used to love going in there just to buy something, to watch him take her money.
Oh, we think about Marilyn all the time.
Yeah. There's a lot of joy in people. And he was so good at it. And him and Mario were great buddies.
Yeah. Okie doke, you ready, Seth?
Ready.
We're back in the Seattle Hot Stove Kitchen, downtown Seattle on Cairo Radio. My name is Tom Douglas.
And I'm Terry Rotiro, the chef in hat.
We've been joined by the legendary Armandino Batali. You can call him Armo. Now that you've heard him on our show, when you see him on the streets, just say, hey, Armo. Hey, Armo.
Hey, Armo.
Hey, Armo.
Yeah.
Armo, for so long you have been a fixture in our town, starting the fabulous salumi and all the other things that you do, working for Boeing, traveling the world. Been a great advocate for Food Lifeline, doing their big benefit every year called Savor event, cooking and enjoying and donating your time in your home cooking and kitchen to the cause. And there's just so much that you do that inspires all of us around Seattle. Tell us a little more succinctly about that. And then before we get off on this segment, I want to know, can people legitimately make salami in their home? Because I know in the restaurants, the health department is not very happy about the whole idea, but can people make a safe product at home? So first off, what got you involved with Food Lifeline, and where do you stand these days in your philanthropic efforts?
Well, I cook every Friday for the St. James homeless people, which keeps me pretty happy to be in a kitchen. We have 5 or 6 volunteers, and we cook a hot dinner for the homeless. We serve probably 150 a day. We're talking about going back to 200. They used to serve 200 a day there, sit down, which is quite a dramatic effort in the homeless. You know, you get all kinds of people. They're pretty well disciplined when they walk into church or walk into the kitchen. I enjoy that. I'm on the board of trustees at St. Martin's, and we do a lot of, we've been very fortunate over the years when I was the first chairman, we started bringing high-end chefs to a gala affair that gave money to student scholarships. And in 12 years, we've been able to do about $15 million
Wow.
in money collected. Last year, we had Jacques Pepin.
I know.
Tom was there. Honored to have him. We've had Mario. We've had Carla Hall. We've had Guy Fieri. All kinds of. This year, we have Anne Burrell coming, woman with crazy hair. That's been a joy for me. I spend a lot of time on that. I lost my wife 2 years ago this month. She was a big driver in caring and sharing our objectives. Incredible person. And she used to make gnocchi in the window at Salumi every Tuesday. In Italy, it was, I think, gnocchi day was Thursday, but we had to be different. And Salumi was created just out of it was a retirement dream that we had. We wanted to give back. So that's why we picked Pioneer Square. It was a pretty downtrodden area, and it shouldn't be and shouldn't ever be. And so we picked a little building, a little place there that was owned by Sam Israel, and who made shoes for the army during the war, made a ton of money, bought all kinds of buildings, but he never maintained them. I mean, he owns half of Pioneer Square. So we rented that. We had 700 square feet when we started. A lot of cubic feet because it had a big high ceiling, which was useless.
Isn't it where you're supposed to hang the prosciutto?
Yeah. So we started making cured meats, and I'd learned this in Italy, and Tom asked the question. We had a little oven, and we had some culture, and it was pretty technical involved, and it still is, and it even more so today with the rules of the government. We had, most people don't believe that, but every day we made salami, we had a government inspector come in. And this was just part of the meat curing process that the government insists on. The HACCP plans and the health plans and the water control and storage control. And my background at Boeing was in engineering, and we built a system beyond doubt, probably the best in America. Ideally, we were small, we could control it. So anyway, that's how we started. And it grew pretty fast. We wanted to serve lunch. So we developed pasta recipes for that, a porchetta sandwich. We had my mother's meatballs. And, it became a socially fun place to be. And one of the things that has driven our family is the word hospitality. It also is part of the St. Martin's University basic thought processes. But it's caring for the customer who came in, and we put wine on the table, but people poured their own and kept track of their own glass. And we got to know people so well. We had when we started, a lot of free labor. One of them was the ex-leader of Perkins Coie, a lawyer, and we had private dinners every week for 12 to 15 on Saturday night. We were booked for a year, I think. I don't know. And he liked this, so he came and he says, "I'd like to help you." And I said, "Great." said, what can you do? Nothing. Finally, Marilyn puts him at the cash register.
So that's where you
And
put the lawyer.
And he screwed up more. I mean, every day you had to go through the money because he screwed up. Can you imagine paying a lawyer by the hour?
To mess it up.
Oh, that's
Hey,
a
Armo,
wonderful-
before we only have a minute. I want to know: can people make salami at home these days, or are they going to kill themselves? You only have 1 minute.
Okay. It's very difficult, and restaurateurs are finding it the same. They just don't seem to have the time to follow up, even though they might have a simple HACCP plan, which the health department requires. It's a very tedious, you got to watch the product.
It's a caring job. You have to be caring.
Yeah.
It's like gardening in some ways. You have to be there every day, even though it's going to grow on its own. You still have to be
Right.
there every day.
Yeah, unfortunately, listeria grows on its own too.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it's very difficult, but at home, now there are recipes, and if you ever thought of doing this, there are a lot of cultures available that convert part of the process of safety that you can buy. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. It can be done, Tom. You just have to be very careful about the process of drying creates potential for listeria or salmonella. Then you got to control the incoming meat, the cooler, and it needs love and care. I guess if you make wine, or beer, you probably got a first step on it, and then you need the equipment, you need coolers, and you need like a good wine cooler. Usually is good for hanging salami or prosciutto in.
Okay, I got to cut you off there, Armo.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Terry. I want you to walk over to Armo and get a pinky promise.
All
that
right.
he's going to come back on our show and share more stories.
I got a hug from him.
Okay, good.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much,
that's everything.
Armandino.
Thank you so much, Armo. We got another full hour to go right here on the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
I don't have my. Oh.
All right.
Hey, Jim. Jim is a steady
Jim.
listener.
Yes.
Thank you,
steady
Jim.
Listener, and he wants more Armandino.
We're going to
So-
bring Armandino back every month just to see how he's doing. And I'm sure he's got enough. I mean, we could bring him every
Enough
month for a few
material.
years. Well, we talked about the butcher. Next time we talk about the mechanic. The engineer, yes.
Yeah. All right. Hour 2.
How's everyone? You guys ate your breakfast yet?
Yeah.
How was it? My cookie was delicious.
Oh, good. We've made you into a believer.
I know. Totally delicious. With those.
What were you not believing, Chef?
Well, Mike, right? Started by saying, I have a gluten-free cookie. And I was like, nah, if I'm going to eat a cookie, and I don't know why I said that, but it was actually really, really delicious. And you know what made that cookie? The dough is really delicious, but the jam is real. That's, I think, where the key is of that cookie, as opposed to be some jam that never been that's just sugar. This is real jam. You can
It's made
taste.
from fruit.
You can
lot of
taste the
fruit.
fruit. You know, and that's what makes the cookie. See what? Butter. Yeah. What? I mean, how are you gonna make a cookie without butter? That ain't gonna be a good cookie. We're not in jail. This is not a punishment. This is a nourishment and a sweet nourishment. So, all right, Tommy, you ready for second hour?
Yeah.
Talking about Burger King sandwiches.
Well, not really. I think the question is a little bit different than that. Reread the question so that we don't get carried away on the Burger King side of this.
Right.
It's more a dairy. It's more of a. He's trying to live within certain dietary boundaries. So let's talk about that a bit too.
Right, without the meat or fish.
Yeah.
So it allows for the dairy and egg,
Right.
Yeah.
but how to get the flavor without it. Got it.
So no bacon. I'm leaving.
No
Just
bacon.
kidding. No bacon, no sausage. Well, we're gonna have for breakfast.
I can make mushrooms
After
taste
all-
like bacon.
After all that salami and prosciutto talk, I'm ready.
All right, we're back. It's hour number 2 of the Hot Stove Society Show on Cairo Radio. Coming up, we're going to spruce up your spring salads. We're going to talk about Kenji Lopez Alt's idea about a crunchy tuna sandwich, which when I saw Terry's eyes roll in the back of his head, I understood that maybe this isn't for him. Also, we have a question, Chef. We have a question from our listener who wants to know how to elevate Burger King's egg sandwich for lacto-ovo vegetarian diet, which means he's a vegetarian. They're vegetarian, but they don't. They can eat eggs and cheese. So that's all coming up. And of course, Pamela, you are going to change up our Food for Thought Tasty Trivia brought to you by Rub with Love. What are you going to do today for that segment?
It's foodie jokes. We like humor with food.
So is there any challenge for the chef and I, or we just have
Yes,
to sit back?
to try to get the answers. That would be good.
I'll get the answer of a funny joke.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. It might not be as funny as we think.
So are we talking about like why the chicken crossed the road kind of thing?
I'm the one telling the jokes.
Oh, okay.
You're the one answering because you wanted
All
to
right.
go on the other side.
Chef, so I'm just going to read from Pamela's notes here. A listener says, I've made a fried egg and mushroom croissant sandwich with cheese, mayo, salt, and fresh ground pepper. The cheeses I've used are Gouda, smoked Gouda, Munster, Havarti, and a Maxi blend. I'm not sure what a Maxi blend is, but my guess is it's something you can buy at QFC. It still seems bland. In theory, though, it sounded great to him. How do I make this go from ordinary to extraordinary?
Well,
So
my
this is from
first,
David Wilson, made in the Northwest.
so my first inclination on this is if you want to be vegetarian, it's missing vegetables. Like I would definitely start with things like
He's got
arugula.
mushrooms. He's got mushrooms, yeah.
No, he's got mushroom, but I would do something like arugula, something that has a piquant, vibrant flavor. That's one of the items I would definitely add to this sandwich because when you bite through it, you'd have that mushroom and that cheese. We all know what mushroom and cheese tastes like. It's a wonderful flavor. That's what I love about this breakfast sandwich here. But if you add arugula, now you have a different flavor. You have a bite flavor added to it, which really perks up the sandwich. I think also if he was to make an herb like a chermoula kind of idea, which is basically blended herb, lemon, salt, pepper, and a little bit of olive oil, and you drizzle that on top of your eggs in your sandwich, that also would perk up your sandwich. And lately I've been on this, my wife is probably going to laugh at this, but we found this salsa. Where did you get that salsa again? Met Market. Delicious salsa. And I there's many salsas out there on the market. And you eat some salsas and they're okay, but we found one and I'm starting to put on everything. And when you talk about an egg sandwich with mushroom and cheese, first thing I think about is like, just take that salsa, drain it a little bit, put it right on top of that sandwich, close it, and eat it. And that would be a great perkiness to your sandwich. That would bring another layer of flavor.
I would also like to go back and follow David through his process, because to me, there could be some very simple things that he's not doing that would change the whole dynamic of that sandwich.
Right.
So, for example, it says, I've made a fried egg. Well, there's lots of fried eggs, right? There's fried eggs that are kind of done low and slow, which to me are super bland, or there's fried eggs that are cooked in brown butter with crispy edges that have a little spice rub on top, like maybe a little escalette pepper or something like that. So now we've changed the complete dynamic of the fried egg. Let's go back to the croissant. My guess is he's taken the croissant, he's cut it in half, and he's starting to build a sandwich.
Right.
So you and I both know if you take that croissant or the English muffin,
Right.
put a little butter on it, and you pan sear it or toast it so that it's got a great crunchy brown caramelized edge to it. Again, you've immediately changed the dynamic of the sandwich without doing much else.
Right.
I love your idea of the arugula or some sort of sauteed spinach with garlic and chilies. I mean, this is a classic, and I'm surprised you didn't say this stuff. But a nice spread of Dijon mustard on
Well,
that.
that was my next move. I mean,
Well,
it's an 8-minute show. We
that's
gotta.
like your fourth move.
I can't just put it.
You could have lost the date already waiting on that move.
I was going with the exotic first, and then I finished by the traditional Dijon mustard, which is always a safety for anything. I mean,
bright, acidic, and gives everything a nice perk. That to me would. So now we've got a toasted English muffin or croissant. Now we've got a spread of Dijon mustard. Now we've got a fried egg with a crispy edge and a little spice rub on top. You could stop there and just do your mushrooms and cheese and be a happy man. But I would go into and I would get something like the Beecher's Marco Polo or what's they have another one that's called Mother's like it's a black peppercorn cheese.
Uh-huh.
No Mother, I think it's called.
Right.
Something like that. Or even their aged cheddar is so dynamic compared to just like a regular plain old jack cheese or Havarti. When you add Havarti to a sandwich, you're not adding anything.
No, you're not adding any flavor.
I'm sorry. If you're looking for some sort of jump, you're not. When you add Gouda, it has to be an aged Gouda. If you're adding Munster, you're not adding anything. You're not adding any jump into your sandwich. And so that, in my opinion, what he's looking for are things to make that sandwich jump a bit.
Right. And I think you're right. And one thing that he did, though, smoked cheese. I think smoked cheese is a great addition.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like if you get a scamosa, like the smoked mozzarella. That could be also a good addition to a sandwich. But you have to make sure, very importantly, that cheese melts down. So it's important then, like you said, you cook the croissant, you start putting your items on it, you put the cheese on top, and you put it back in the oven for a minute. So then that cheese can have a chance to melt. To me, I think that's not really, it's kind of disgusting if the cheese is still like hard and not my cup of tea. What's the meaning of that if you're not melting it? So.
And then if you really want to gild the lily, Chef and I both know that a little dab will do you on some Chinese spicy chili crisp.
I thought about that too. That was good.
While it says it's from Chinese and it's a Chinese condiment, once you put it on that sandwich with all the other stuff, it's just going to be part of the layers of flavor that you're looking for to perk up your sandwich.
Right. And if you want to go African, you go harissa. And if you want to go, there's many different flavors you can add.
Mm-hmm.
You could also do some fresh chili, just slice super thin fresh chili, remove the seeds, and then layer down on top of your sandwich. And that would be also very delicious.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of items.
All sorts of things to make that dull Burger King ordinary style breakfast sandwich extraordinary. Thank you, Chef.
And one thing we didn't touch on is pickled vegetable. Pickle your own vegetable and put some on top. That would be an easy one. You have it in the fridge already, so.
Okay, David, I think you've got some good ideas there to take your sandwich up.
Bon appetit.
All right, let's spruce up our spring salads. It's that time. We're starting to get those baby greens out of the ground. Our peas have popped. Let's do that next here on the Hot Stove Society Radio Show 97.3 FM.
Thank you guys for good ideas on that.
And we didn't suggest adding meat one time.
I know.
I almost put the fried egg and bacon fat, and then I stopped myself.
Tom, don't you wish we had bought Mama Lil's when we could have?
Yeah.
Still think about that, because that would save that sandwich.
Yeah.
Love those pickled
Mama Lil,
vegetables.
that would have been a good idea.
Yes. Well, you were
What-
starting there with the pickled vegetable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. All right, KG, is that next? No, spring salad first.
All your fronds, bringing all your frond and infused oils
Things that are growing in the backyard. I mean, chives right now are
are
bunker.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
I should have brought a handful.
I think it's great you make compound butter with that. Okay.
Hello, we're on the radio. Let's save this good stuff for the radio.
Tom, did you read the Benton County Ham article yesterday?
No.
Oh, your friend was out harvesting ramps. Whenever he has a special chef, he takes them into the woods to get the ramps, and then they eat the ham and the bacon with the ramps. It's so
Ooh.
cute.
That sounds good.
Yum.
Did you see the article on
That reminds me, I have to order that ham for Mother's Day for our class on Mother's Day.
did you see the article on Seattle Central?
Yes.
Somehow I think it would be good to find something for next week to
Did they vote to discontinue it?
not yet, but
I
it's
thought they were voting yesterday.
Oh, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh,
From yesterday would be a year. If they voted yesterday to discontinue, the class would be over in a year.
oh. That would be a shame. I mean, in the time we're living in, not able to find anybody who can walk, it would be sad to lose somebody with minimum practice.
Exactly.
Basics. It's completely crazy. But like everything else, it needs some help somewhere.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
There we go.
It's the Hot Stove Society show from downtown Seattle in the Hotel Andra, right there at 4th and Virginia. We're happy to be back in the kitchen with you all. Hopefully you're in your garden harvesting spring greens and herbs and all the little shoots that are popping up out of the ground. Even though it's been cool, that is really a great place to get spring quality greens, because if it's too hot, they just shoot out of the ground and bolt, and then they're lost for the rest of the year. So
Yeah,
my name is Doug Douglas.
And my name is Thierry Roturo, the chef in the hat. I was gonna say, Tom, my fight this year has been my dandelion on my lawn. Oh my God Almighty! Those things pop up like by the minute. You just go, you pick them up, and boom, they come right back. They
Here's
never.
my fight this year, Terry. I've been reading a disturbing accounts that Seattle Central Community College is dropping their culinary program.
Right.
And I'm devastated by that, because to me, trade schools and the such, which is what I kind of consider that program, they have an electrician's program, and all sorts of trade programs. Those are the backbone of our community, and I hate to see it go away. We've already lost South Seattle Baking Program. We've lost the Art Institute. We've lost so many. I just hate to see this one going down the same path.
Right. It would be. We live in a time where we need more of those places as opposed to less. So we need, as a community, to get together and really figure out how to make this work. And whether it's South, because the program at South also needs help. So South and Central should both be community oriented, and we should all, as a community, partake into finding out what it's going to take to make it work and help in that cause, because we need to produce more of those people working with hands as opposed to other jobs, and this will always be needed around, and we will always need cooks. We will always need servers, butchers, bakers. We will always need
electricians, plumbers. I mean, we need them all. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's important that we keep that alive.
All right. So if you have a chance, make your voice heard in the conversation going out and about on the Seattle Central Community College's culinary program, that would be great.
Yep.
All right. For the rest of this segment, let's talk about what you're finding in your yard right now, Chef. You are out of the restaurant business per se, in a
Right.
direct way. You still have your place down at the airport
Mhm.
that you're consulting on. Tell us about the time that you have now to go out and pick through dandelions and find edibles in your yard and in things that you've planted and what you're looking for these days, early spring.
Well, the quick part about the dandelion is when I was a child, we actually used to go pick them and make salad out of it. But nowadays, I'm so irritated by those dandelion growing so much in my backyard, and all I'm doing is go with my shovel and my hand shovel and take them out. I take them out, and I have a pile of them, but they keep coming. They keep coming. I'm gonna win though, because I don't lose. I'm gonna win at this, but we'll see. But back to the question, I think Kathy and I have been working in the backyard. Mostly Kathy. I'm just giving instruction. I think I'm giving desire, and she makes it happen. I think that's what happened. Great relationship. But what I have a lot of is chives, and the reason this came to mind is, when you have a lot of chives or a lot of anything in the backyard, especially when it's in the heart of the season. Right now, the chives are gorgeous. What do you do with all these chives? You can't possibly eat all of them, even though we try. So things that came to mind, first thing was compound butter. It's very simple. You chop your chives, you take some butter, you room temp the butter, you involve the chives into the butter with a little seasoning. You could put some chopped shallots, a little fresh thyme chopped, and put your chives in there. And now you have a compound butter. Then you can roll on a piece of parchment paper, keep that in the freezer, put a date on it so you don't become a museum, still a freezer. Don't keep it for 6 years, just use it in the summer. But you have a compound butter. So next time you're cooking a piece of salmon or a piece of anything, piece of fish, a chicken, you don't have time to make a sauce, but you don't need to. You have the compound butter. You take the roll out of the freezer, make a few slices, put that on top of your chicken, flash it in the oven for 2 minutes. You get the beautiful melted herb butter on top of your chicken or on top of your fish. Bingo. You get a wonderful little finishing to your product. So that's
Those are
one.
really good ways to clean out your fridge too, because in that same time that you're picking all these herbs, you got a lemon that's been there maybe a little too long, or a lime or something. You just simply zest those. You've got a shallot in your kitchen, mince it up, put all that into your compound butter. Don't forget a little salt and pepper at the same time.
Right. And then the other thing is oil infused. You always use olive oil in your kitchen or regular oil. You just put a pan on the fire. You put those herbs in there for just a couple of minutes to reach a temperature of about 100 degrees. Let the herbs steep in there. Strain the overnight. Strain it the next morning. Bingo, you've got an oil that's been flavored. So for the chives, for example, you just chop all those chives and put them in there. It will do the fantastic work. And now your oil has picked up a flavor, like an oniony flavor kind of idea. So you have a wonderful, tasty oil. And you can use that, again, in dressing. You can use it on top of, if you're roasting a piece of lamb. We were talking about lamb earlier. Just drizzle your olive oil at the end once your lamb has been cooked. Drizzle your oil on top of that, and then slice your meat, and then put it on a platter. And that gives a nice little extra flavor on top of your meat.
So let's talk now about some salad ingredients that people aren't really used to adding, I think. So you're at the store, you pick up, God darn, the bib lettuce looks awesome. You pick up a head of bib lettuce. You might pick up a few red radishes, maybe a little bit of cucumber. But there's so many other things that can go in your spring salad that I don't think people really consider.
Yeah.
For example, all the fronds, off of those, the big new copper fennel or the wild fennel or even the dill that's been popping up, and that's all popping up right now.
Right.
All those fronds make great salad ingredients. Rather than pureeing or mincing them, put them in whole.
Yeah. Just go to the garden, and they're all tender and young. Take a pair of scissors and then just cut the fronds on top of your salad. It's wonderful.
Big chunks of chives, flat leaf parsley, any kind of parsley.
Yeah.
If your cilantro is up, the red sorrel, the red
Red rib
vein
sorrel.
Yeah.
I got a
That's
lot of
all
those.
out there. Fresh pea tendrils. If your peas are up and going, You're not going to stop the peas from growing if you take a few tendrils.
No.
But those would be nice. Bean tendrils. There's so many early crop cuttings that you can put into a great fresh spring salad.
Absolutely. It's very, very. It just walk through the market and farmers market are now restarting. This is a perfect time of the year to go because they will have all those ingredients we just talked about. All the young tender greens are going to be on the market. So this is a great time to go to the farmers market. I love spring in the market is fabulous. Get those. Can almost eat it at the market.
So, Terry, when you do a spring salad like this, you don't want to weigh it down with a big, heavy, my go-to for a salad is sometimes like a mustard vinaigrette or something like that. But in a spring salad, you really don't want to weigh it down that much. So I love sticking to just olive oil, a squeeze of lemon, and some great salt, or just a stash of muscatel vinegar, olive oil, and salt. Spring is especially a good time to be doing those kind of dressings so that you don't overwhelm your salad.
Yeah, and in some cases depends on the greens. But if those young tender lettuces that we have now on the market are beautiful and they're tasty and they don't need much. A big bowl. I take olive oil and I put it on the side of the bowl. Let the olive oil drip. A little bit of sea salt. That's it. I don't put anything else. I don't put vinegar. I don't put any acids. Then I toss the green in there very gently to make sure that all the leaves have the olive oil and the seasoning on it. Then I put the rest of the component in a bowl and season that with a little bit of citric or whatever acid I have. Not citric acid, but acids, and I have an olive oil again, salt and pepper. And I put that on top of the greens. The greens are just so beautiful right now. Tender, spring. All right, Tom.
What other things? I'm not sure how much time we have left.
I think we're done for this one.
Oh, we're done for this segment. All right.
Yeah. Sorry,
Well,
we got to move on to the next one.
Sean Del Torre, if you'll cut that open there for me, that would be great. All right, up next, let's talk about how to make a tuna salad a little different, we'll say. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Sorry, I give you 2 minutes, but I didn't give you one. I know. Who is in charge? Nobody knows. What kind of a war is this? He can't hear you. You got to be here. Love that.
Everybody okay?
I am pouring myself some delicious pour-over coffee right now.
Pour over.
Every morning I make pour-over.
Oh, yeah, pour over.
Part of my ritual. And when Jackie's here, she gets it in bed. The coffee.
Yeah, we get that. That's so nice of you to bring your coffee in bed. That's what I did my lovely wife.
Angela, Mike brings you coffee in bed, doesn't he?
Oh,
Absolutely.
you?
Yeah.
I brought coffee in bed to Kathy this morning. She was like, "Can you bring me coffee?" I'm like, "No, I can't." Yep. All right, let's talk about
Onward.
some very exciting tuna sandwich. Chips on the side, please.
We're
Yeah,
back.
so we have
I
an
did
inter-
not know.
Oops, sorry, Tom. She was like, we have somebody in the audience like, no, inside. I love that.
How do you like your tuna salad? Let's discuss that next here on the Hot Stove Society radio show. If you even eat a tuna sandwich, I can't tell you the last time I had one, honestly. My name is Tom Douglas.
And my name is Thierry Roturo, and I had one yesterday.
Wow, Chef. Kenji Lopez Alt's article this week was captivating. as a textural concert with a crunchy chorus. Oh, Kenji has a way with words, doesn't he?
He does. He
Uh,
does. And I would not,
Uh,
I would not argue that statement. Then, if you put potato chip, it would definitely create a gorgeous layer of different texture. That's for sure.
Pamela, why did you pick this article? I mean, you have your choice of so many things when it comes to programming this radio show. What got you in touch with your inner tuna sandwich self?
Well, I am an avid tuna fish sandwich person, raised on them, but I was naive about the potato chip edition and had no idea that it had taken over America since the 50s. And for the New York Times to dedicate a whole page to Kenji talking about the debate of how and when to add your potato chips to your tuna fish, I thought needed a moment of our time.
Well, if I may intervene, I've never had it, but I can tell you that I would certainly not put them at the beginning of making the sandwich. If I was putting anything crispy like this and thin, my take would be last minute item addition.
He had to point that out in the article because there's confusion about it. So
There's
you're-
no confusion where
you're-
I come from. Otherwise, it's going to
Okay,
get
so
soggy.
So, Chef, let's make a tuna sandwich because we need to know where you're starting this process
I start
in
with
order to know when we can finish it with the chips. So, how do you make your favorite tuna sandwich?
I start with a good can of tuna from
St. Jude.
Thank you, St. Jude Tuna. They make a wonderful tuna in olive oil and one in water. That's delicious.
So good.
So you drain your tuna, and then the other things, and I'm really, really keen on, is to take the whole grain Skagit Valley. I don't know what you call it, big bull that they sell at Metropolitan Market. That bread is just sensational
It's
to
a
make.
life force.
Oh my God, it's so good. That bread it's got everything in it. It's so delicious. Anyway, you take that and you toast it on one side.
One side.
I'm a big fan of toasting on one side, the side you're going to make the sandwich with. That's what I do. And my wife is like going like this. What are you doing like this for?
Yeah, like I'm confused now. First, you started with tuna, so you just put the canned tuna on a toasted one-sided bread.
No. I have the
No,
can.
no.
I have the
Let's go back
canned
to the
tuna on
beginning.
one side, draining. Then I'm taking 2 slices of bread and I'm putting them in the oven, and I'm going to toast it on the top side. And then I'm going to
Okay.
take that bread out of the oven, and I'm going to have an aioli, and I'm going to spray onto the toasted side of the bread lettuce, beautiful
So aioli is garlic mayonnaise.
garlic mayonnaise, and then tons of lettuce, beautiful tender lettuce leaves. Then I'm going to put the tuna that's been mixed with a hard-boiled egg, chopped shallots, tuna, and lemon olive oil dressing. So I got this nice little mixture of tuna. Put that on top of the lettuce. And then I'm going to take the other slice and put Dijon mustard on the toasted side and put it back.
Aioli and mustard.
Yeah. And then put
Double trouble.
that put that on top, squeeze, cut it in half because it's a big slice. And then I got 2 beautiful half sandwiches and I'm gonna enjoy.
And so, just to be clear, the bread that's not the side of the bread that's not toasted is on the outside of the sandwich.
Correct.
Correct. And what's your theory about just not toasting both sides?
Well, because I'm not trying to have a hard piece of bread on the outside, or the reason it's toasted on the inside is so that my sandwich doesn't fall apart, doesn't become a soggy mess. So by toasting it, I have this texture, and I also have that nice little prevention of making the bread totally soaked up. But
Okay.
I do like the texture of that bread to be just warmed up in the oven and not crispy on the outside side.
Okay,
It's
so
a whole-
my version is a lot like yours without the lettuce, but all of my ingredients are mixed together: the aioli, the mustard, the tuna, the cornichon. All of that to me is one big mayonnaise laden salad, and then I just put it on my toasted bread. And if I want a tuna melt, I put cheese on it and I pan fry it into a melt. But I don't really love hot tuna salad. Okay, so now we both have tuna salad made out of the same ingredients, kind of packed together in a different way. So Kenji's article, Pamela, if if you'll mention some of the things that he's tried, so that people know, in case they haven't read it in the New York Times, they've heard it first here on the hot stove. So Kenji, I believe you said he started with one version that had barbecue chips on toasted rye. Does that sound
that
appealing to you?
sounded like a good combo. Because I'm a rye bread fanatic, being from the East Coast, and then adding the salty barbecue flavor, I thought that was interesting. It was,
With tuna?
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no,
I
no, no.
know.
Sorry.
Okay.
No,
So,
so-
Chef, if you don't like that, the next one that Pam's going to tell you is even better.
okay.
The albacore, shallots, cornichon, and Doritos. I know you're getting
You know,
weak
this
in the
is
knee.
to me when I hear this, I think it's trying too hard. What about a plain potato chips? That would be making a lot more sense to me because
Let's get
I-
that from the audience. We're getting some confirmation that the plain potato chips are the way.
yeah, I mean that would make
Um,
sense to me.
But Kenji spent some time on the texture of the chip too, saying either ruffled or kettle. Yes? No? Oh, there's some
Ruffles?
disagreement now. Ruffles.
Okay, so
Ruffles.
he called the Doritos version textural umami. All right.
Whose mommy is that? No, I'm sorry. Well, that's
Here's what else he says in his article is that there's no need for the fancy tuna. So I think of fancy tuna being, there's a couple from Spain. I want to call it Ortiz.
yeah.
There's a few out there that I think are really delicious. He's saying by the time you add Doritos and stuff like that, maybe there's no need for the fancy tuna.
Yeah, well, I would think he's right on that one. I mean, it would be a sabotage to just take something very special and unique and add Doritos to it. You don't need to do that.
Like that. Do you get the St. Jude tuna belly ever? That is
Oh,
so luscious.
Exquisite.
Exquisite.
No,
And you just want that by the
no
fork.
Doritos in that
No
one.
Doritos. Maybe
And
some green onions.
Yeah, exactly. And chives. We have chives. It's in season.
I would also suggest that people take a minute and try a sustainable canned salmon
Yes.
instead of tuna. To me, it's just as delicious. It's pretty. It's red. It is a great way to
It's
go.
also different.
one
It's
thing
also a different flavor, Tom. I like the difference of flavor between tuna and salmon. It's
Yeah.
definitely different.
Yeah, to me, the glaring miss in Kenji's article, and we all love Kenji. He's like one of the hottest food personalities around the country. His book, Food Lab, is a classic already. It's sold over 1 million copies. But to me, his big miss here is the fried onions, that you get in a can. I don't know how he could have possibly missed that.
Wait, I'm sorry. I heard you say in a can. You buy the fried onion in a can. You don't fry the onion?
No. That's cheating. You have to buy them in a can. You can't make them yourself.
I didn't even know they sold them in the can. That's a new discovery. Wow.
Yes, it's a popular product. The little
Yeah.
blue label French
It's
one.
obviously missed my popularity, but I'm gonna look for that.
Look up green onion casserole or green bean casserole, and you'll see it call for fried onions in a can every time. The other ones that he missed, he went with Fritos, which Fritos are kind of interesting, a direct corn kind of flavor, but he forgot Pamela's favorite snack, which is Cheetos.
Don't
And
bust me on the radio, please.
totally
Cheetos. Cheetos is. Do you have that on the side? Don't put that on my tuna salad. That would be no way.
Pamela, I just want to know, in your version, since you love Cheetos so much, would you put the Cheetos Puffs on your tuna sandwich or the Cheetos Crunchies on your tuna
Crunchy
sandwich?
all the way. Has to be
Crunchy
crunchy.
all the way.
But my crunch is celery. I am
Yes.
addicted to celery, and I think it's got to be. It's a critical part of successful tuna.
Yeah, I mean
All right.
celery to me makes a lot of sense. Total lot of sense.
Couple of last questions here for the perfect tuna salad. Sweet or dill pickle? Just say which one you like. I'm a dill.
Dill.
All right, 3 for dill. Red onion or green onion?
Red.
I go
No,
green.
Green.
I go green.
Green's winning in the audience.
Okay. And what kind of cheese on a tuna melt?
No cheese for
Classic
me.
American?
No cheese for me.
Classic American where you get the real melt, or are you going to go fancy like a Beecher's flagship?
That would be not necessary, I think.
That wasn't the question, Chef.
We don't have too many tuna melt fans in the audience.
Yeah, I'm not. You can't. I don't. The idea of
I'm going classic American because I want that kind of smooth meltiness in my tuna melt. That's why they call it a tuna melt. All right, it's everyone's favorite time. It's time for Rub with Love, Tasty Trivia, which today is a joke on you. When we come back, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Who's got a funny bone?
Okay, so if you don't raise your hand, we're gonna pick someone. That's just the punishment of the day. It's just like class.
Oh, I love your name. You are a perfect contestant.
Did you say?
This is. I think she should be on camera.
Yeah. What did you say your name was? Hildegard. Oh wow, Hildegard. Oh, I love that name.
Now, the next time you're at Book Larder, get this beautiful book. It's called Lunch Lines: Silly Riddles for Lunchtime Giggles. And you need to have it when you're having a boring dinner party and your friends are not keeping up their end of the conversation.
How many?
Maria, bring her microphone down and closer to her, please.
Yeah. That's what this is for. It's a guard. Yeah, it's a speed guard.
No, it's a pea guard. It
a
helps
pea
you
guard.
not pop your peas.
Oh, that's right.
Please don't spit on it.
Nobody gets that high to pee. Okay.
I guess.
Welcome back. It's time for our final segment of the Hot Stove Society radio show, coming to you from the Hotel Andra in downtown Seattle. It's Hot Stove's last segment is always brought to you by Rub with Love Spice Rubs, a family of spice blends, sauces, and mustards that belong in your pantry. These condiments will help you create distinctive flavor profiles in any dish you are creating. Have fun mixing and matching them on your veggies and proteins. You can find Rub with Love locally at your local stores like QFC, Whole Foods, McClendon hardware stores, Met Markets, you name it. They're all over the place, and we make them right here in Ballard. Try out the brand new Jerk Rub, Taco Spice, and Serious Pie Pizza Spice. Also, Bartell's has placed an order for Rub with Love, so you should be able to find them in your Bartell store soon. And remember, if you can't, we always sell them down at the Rub Shack in the Pike Place Market, Seatown, or online under TomDouglas.com. Okay, Pamela, it's time to play our game. It's a little bit different today. Tell folks what we have to do and how they win and who our winner is going to be.
I love food humor. I didn't have time to do trivia last night because my friend Paula Chergino and Fred Smith were in the house and we were eating dinner at Lola, so I couldn't write my trivia. But I have a handy backup in my Lunch Line Silly Riddles book, which is what we're using today. So the three contestants, Tom, Terry, and Hildegard, are each going to get 5 jokes. And the one that gets most right is the winner.
All
and
right.
gets the prize of the 3 new rubs.
I'm excited.
So where did Hildegard come from?
She came from the audience.
Okay.
Where do you hail from?
Redmond.
Oh, big trip this morning.
Huge.
15
Well,
minutes.
thank you for making the trip. Appreciate it. Terry Rotra, are you ready to start?
I am ready. Go ahead.
All right. Why was the ice cream lonely? Maybe think about how it's served in some ice cream parlors. Why was the ice cream lonely?
I'm looking at my wife to see if she has any
Yeah,
inspiration.
Kathy was a big help last time, so
Uh-huh.
she might.
Okay.
The ice cream. Tom, any idea?
Yeah, Chef, it's only a 2-hour show because it was served one scoop at a time.
Oh, cute. No, the answer was because the banana split.
Oh,
Oh, number 2.
ooh, I would have never guessed that one. So good. I don't feel so bad.
Why did the train engineer choke?
Why did the train engineer choke?
Think about a noise that a train might
Choo
make.
choo.
Yes, he forgot to chew his food.
Exactly. All right. Next.
You're on a roll.
I'm on a roll.
How much salt do crabs put on their food?
How much salt do crab put on there? A pinch.
You're brilliant.
Whew, I'm glad it wasn't a claw.
What? Number 4. What do carnivores eat in space?
Meatless. No. In space. Probably, yeah, no. In the air. It's nothing to do with meatless, right? It's not like a space. Okay. I don't know. I'm giving up.
Meteors.
Oh, yuck, 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 yuck. That's good. And the last one.
I love it. What is it called when a witch brings you dinner?
It's called a sandwich. No, it's something brings you dinner. It's called something to wish.
What might she ride in on?
Oh, broom, like a broomstick.
Service.
Oh, broom service. That is awesome. 2 out of 5.
Not bad.
Well, no,
Thank you.
I'm even surprised I got 2.
Hildegard of Redmond. You got the corny
Side of
bent.
that.
I'll try.
Okay. Where does spaghetti go to dance? Think of something that is often with a spaghetti.
Salsa?
Meatball.
Meatball.
Your friends can definitely shout out. What do monsters put on bagels? Think about what a reaction to a monster might be.
Mash? No.
Scary.
Screen cheese.
Wow.
Number.
I know. I'm with you.
What do you get when you burn a bagel? Related to the shape.
Coal. When you burn the bagel, you end up with a coal.
Circle.
You're onto something.
Circle.
What's the circle called?
Round.
Yes. Holy smoke.
Wow. She's burning you right now.
Oh,
3
she
years.
is.
3.
Yeah.
Where are those food jokes?
Yeah.
Where are those food questions?
What do you get when you cross a cow and a lemon? Yes.
A moo something.
Yay! You're giving her the point, right?
What is it?
Sour cream.
Sour cream.
Sour cream.
Right. That was good.
That was good. Thank you.
What is the laziest food?
Slow food.
Think of the shape. Something.
Dum, 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 dum. Okay, ding, ding.
Bread. It likes to loaf around.
Oh.
Oh.
All right.
Now let's see how Mr. Douglas handles this.
Hildegard, you got 1 out of 5.
All
The
right.
help of the audience.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience. Mr. Douglas, what did the umpire say when he wanted pancakes?
You're out of stock.
The audience had it. Batter up.
Batter up. Yes.
I love this one. Did you hear about the restaurant for people with no teeth and what it's called?
Mum's the word.
It's called the mushroom. That's funny. 3. What do you call a 90-year-old woman who eats porridge?
Smart.
Oldilocks.
Oh, oh,
What does a gorilla wear when it cooks?
An apron.
Yay!
I was just gonna say that.
You got tie.
you get one. One more question.
What song did the mommy oyster sing to the baby oyster?
Pearl Jam.
Mary had a little clam. Yay! Terry's the winner.
Wow.
And what are you going to
Nice
give
job,
to
Terry. What-
Hildegard?
I'm sorry?
But you still have to deliver
Oh,
the prize.
I
to
still have to
Hildegard.
deliver the prize to
Yeah,
Hildegard.
even though you're the winner.
So what are the prize?
The 3 new rubs.
The 3 new
We'll-
rubs,
we'll
which
do
are
that when we're-
which one?
taco, spice, and jerk.
Got it. You like that?
Hey,
Delicious.
Yeah.
thank you for joining
No,
us.
thank you.
You're a
Thank
brave
you.
soul.
All right. Well, that was sure fun. I hope they replay our show in the pre sometime. That would be great. Remember, if you missed any episode of our Hot Stove Society show on Cairo, you can listen via podcast and subscribe with your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening. Well, I should start that over again. Sorry, Sean. You're listening to the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo Radio, 97.3 FM. The show is produced by Pamela Hinckley, Sean McFadden, and our editor is Sean Don't Call Me Del Torre. Also, remember, if you miss any episode of our Hot Stove Society show on Cairo, you can listen via podcast. Just subscribe with your favorite podcast app.
Thanks for listening and have a fabulous weekend.
Nice job, team.
All
Look
right.
forward to being back in studio with you next week. Can we have it quiet in the audience, please? In the kitchen too, if you're back there.
Nobody's here.
Hi, I'm Chef Tom Douglas.
And I'm Thierry Roturo, the chef in the hat.
This afternoon on the Hot Stove Society radio show, we talk about peak of the season lamb. Let's do that again. This afternoon on the Hot Stove Society radio show, we talk about peak of the season lamb. Armandino Patali visits and shares some fabulous stories, elevating spring salads, and of course, the goodness of crunchy potato chips on a tuna sandwich.
Thank you. It's a wrap. Hey, Facebook. Wait, how about YouTube? Different house. Hey, YouTubers, thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next Friday. Or anytime between now and Friday if you want to watch. Tell all your friends, subscribe. We love you. Thank you. You have a great weekend, man.
All right, I'm getting ready for my save up my voice for my next class here.
I'm sorry, I can't hear him. What'd you say?
Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Sean, you'll call me back in a few?
Yeah, so I'll close this one out and then I'll open the link that Diane sent out. I believe, did she send you a link for the Zoom for this afternoon?
Yes.
So that'll be the same one I'll open here at about 11 o'clock. So anytime between 11 and 11:30, you could jump on.
All right.
And it'll pretty much run how it ran today. You can just, was this kind of setup good for you? Comfortable?
Yep, perfect.
Cool. Yeah, it'll be pretty much the same thing, but just instead of sending it to YouTube, it's gonna just stay in Zoom. So
All right,
it'll be
great.
easier on the
I'll
tech
talk
side.
to you in a half hour or so.
Sounds great.
45.
Perfect.
Bye, Terry. Bye, Cafe.
Oh.
That went well.